Okay, Siman Kuf Pei Zayin. This is also a shortish Siman. It's just going through the various Nusach in Birchas Hamazon, things which we perhaps don't always say exactly correctly, or different Nuschos in different communities. So says the Mechaber in Sif Aleph, Yesh Omrim Baruch Maspia L'Reivim. So if this does not sound familiar, do not worry, because he carries on and says, Ve'ein La'omrei. We don't have the minhag to say this. Va'moisif Goireya. And if you do say it, then it does take away. Va'im Omar B'mokim Birchas Hazon, Brich Rachmona, Malka Ma'orei Dahaipita. Blessed is Hashem, Rachmona, the merciful one. Malka, the king. Morei Dahaipita, the master of this bread. Yotza, that's the Gemara in Brachos. But yeah, that Loshen is sufficient. V'yesh Omer Shesorach Sheyachtem, Brich Rachmona Dezon Koila. Blessed is Hashem, who is sort of sustains everyone. Okay, that is that Lashon. We're not familiar with it because our minhag is not to say it. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Yesh Omrim, Sifkot Na'alef, Hainu Shoi Noagin Lema Kedem Haschola, Zbirchas Hamazon. Before benching to begin to say that phrase Baruch Maspia L'Reivim, but again the Mechaber says Ve'ein La'omroi because Mosif Goreya says the Mishnah Berurah De'ein La'hisif Al Matzbeah Shetov Chachamim. Chazal, they've got a coin. This is the Nusach of benching, and don't add and take away from it. This is the set text. Lo yoma ki lo'olam chastoi imanu, ki chasodav hem al kolcha. Don't say imanu, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chesed is with all living creatures. Sho'atozon, says the Mishnah Berurah, komatz tachas hashin. I think that's quite a common mistake. It's not she'atozon, it's sho'atozon. You have the same thing in Moedim as well. Anachnu Moedim noch, v'loi onu. It's anachnu Moedim and not onu. So onu loshen aninus. It's an expression chas v'shalom of aninus of a person, being in the first stage of avelus. Befi kol chai, v'loi bepeh kol chai, re'enu b'shov b'shva tachas hareish v'loi b'cholam. In other words, not ro'enu. Why? Because ki loshen bakosha. It's an expression of bakosha. Umitam zeh tzorech loma zuneinu b'melaopim v'loi chos alonu v'al yechsar lonu. Lo chos alonu v'al yechsar lonu. Okay, I'm not sure what he's adding over there. Malkad Morei, that's the Lashon, as opposed to what? I'm not sure. Malkad Morei, or Lefi Mashekotza Mechaber Lekam Besim Rishutalet, Mari Doma Malkad Alma, Vayim Masheksav Nashom. Okay, so these are the Nuschos in benching we need to be careful about. Yotza, so we said that if a person says that Nusach of Baruch Rachmon and Malkad Morei Dahai Pita, then you're Yotza. Says Rashi, says Mishnah Berurah, Yotza Bracha Rishona Shi Birchas Hazon. You're Yotza, your first bracha. It's pretty abbreviated. And they're not saying the proper nusach that we say in Lashon HaKodesh. Since you say the shem, you make reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's another name for Hashem, the merciful one. Malchus, and you said Malchus, and the main theme of the bracha that is he sustains everyone. And therefore, you've fulfilled the basic criteria of the first bracha of benching. Even though you didn't actually finish off with a proper chasima, it works. After this chasima is sufficient. And the second opinion is even b'diavad it does not work. That it doesn't work. But you should not deviate from the nusach of the bracha, the chazal of the misakin shetignu lanu chachamim. U'kamei shemavu b'Rambam perak aleph mekriya shema perak milchus brachos aleph mekriya brachos. U'mashem b'achreinim dilodzim katanim nuchel lechancham lechatchila b'nusach zu mibrachas hazon. That is mashma that for children to say this nusach is okay. V'chein ma'at mikol bracha, and also to slowly get them used to saying brachas, a little bit of each bracha. Ad sheyedu levarach kol bracha kitukuna. So education, need to start them off slowly, and then build them up. All right, there's time to finish off. It's only very little bit left. It's quite a short simon. Base birchas ha'aretz. The next bracha. Now, very interesting. Laharosh lo yoymar shein chalto la'avosenu eretz chemda bris v'toira. Shari omar bris cheshechatam tzarinu v'atzarosh cheshelmatonu. Now, again, we're not familiar with this nusach. But in Nusach Ashkenaz, even Nusach Sfar, we don't say this. However, if you look in the benching for Edut Mizrach, which I looked up this morning, I checked it out, he actually has this nusach in. And the reason is, V'dai b'pamachad, so according to the Rashi, you only have to say it once, and therefore we don't say it. However, V'harambam Chaylek, the Rambam argues, and therefore, if you look in the Edut Mizrach, we actually have there are a few Sidurim over there with the Edut Mizrach. They say this in the second brach of Noidelacha. They say Shen Chalzel Avosenu Eretz Chemda Bris V'Torah. That's their Nusach because they go like the Rambam. Interesting. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Hey Bris V'Torah Ki Benuschosam Hoyakosov. In their Nusach it says Shen Chalzel Avosenu Eretz Chemda Torah V'Rechava Bris V'Torah. The Rosh says we shouldn't say it. We've already said it. The concept of it. You don't have to say the actual words, you've got to say the concept of it, and we do that already, and therefore that's not our minute to say it. Okay, Gimel. If you didn't mention any of these things, at least once, even if you miss out one of them, just bris or just Torah, for example, machzirin, so you got to go back and say benching again. V'noshim v'avodim le'yom bris v'Torah. Women and avodim do not say bris v'Torah. The noshim lav b'nei bris nenu, v'avodim lav b'nei Torah nenu. We'll see that our minhag is, of course, the women do say it. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Vav, im lo hiske. If you missed out either bris or Torah, what about Eretz, the third one, the third theme of Noidelacha? The machzirin, so that we say that you got to go back. Kadesa b'shas says Mishnah Berurah, da milsa de pshita. Yeah, it's poshut. If you miss out Eretz Toiva Rechava, it's poshut that you got to go back and say that again. The ikka birchas aretz, because that is the ikka of the birchas aretz. And in bris for Torah navi machzirin. So the chiddush is that even bris and even Torah, you don't say that machzirin or so. But birchas haaretz, shalidei bris nitna haaretz lavra. What's bris got to do with haaretz? What's it got to do with noidelacha? Because it's through bris mila that the Eretz Yisrael was given to Avram Avinu with parshas mila. Shenem v'nosatz lecha lezarecha acharecha es Eretz mugurecha. Uvizchus haTorah v'amitzvos yashres haaretz, and also in the zuchus of Torah and mitzvahs we get Eretz Yisrael. Shenem v'leman tichun urvisem v'vasem v'yirshtem es haaretz. Okay, so if you miss out any of that, machzirin also, says Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Ches, hainu l'rosh b'birchas hamazon. That means you go back to the beginning of benching. L'rosh b'birchas hamazon, sorry, it goes back to the beginning of benching. To kulo shalosh brachas v'shonish chashuvas kachas, because the first three, which are min Torah, are considered like one unit, and therefore you missed out bris or eretz or Torah in Neidelacha, you have to go back to the beginning of benching. Kein kosav mogen avrom lekam b'sim kuf beches sif koten ches v'ayin kamash b'mashe kasav nusham b'zeh b'shem shar achronim. Other achronim questions a little bit, but according to the Magen Avram, if you miss out any of those three themes, you have to go back to the beginning of benching. Denoshim lav, etc. Be'emes lav b'nei Torah nenu gamkein. They're also not mechuyev in Talmud Torah. And the reason why we mention that is because bris is shaykh for avodim. Here, this is what I mentioned before. In our days, women just say the normal nusach like everyone else, like we say. And obviously they're referring to the bris of zacharim, the limud Torah of men. And furthermore, you can say, women also have an obligation to learn Torah, certainly for aspects which are relevant to them. Okay, Dalet, let's just finish off the Siman. Dalet says the Mechaber im lo hiskir b'bonei Yerushalayim Malchus Beis David machzirnu so, because again that's the main theme of that bracha, and if you miss it out, you've got to go back. Haga v'imrim ala nisim b'Chanukah v'Purim kodim v'alakol. We put it in the bracha after Noidelacha. V'im lo amru, and if you didn't say it, ein machzirnu, so you don't go back if you miss out ala nisim on Chanukah Purim. V'ayin lekam sim and tofresh pei beish, which is all halachas about this. Umikol mokum yachol la'amru b'teich shar rachman. You are allowed to slot in ala nisim at the end of benching in Horachamon. For Yom, you say the following: Horachamon hu yasel on nisim, k'moishe also by Yom Moheim, etc., etc., and then you just run into Alanisim. V'hachinog, and that is the minhag. Says the Mishnah Berurah B'beina that if you miss out Malchus Beis David in Ben Yerushalayim, Mipnei Shalidei David Niskat Yerushalayim. It's through David HaMelech that Yerushalayim became Kodesh. V'gam she'ein nechama gemura ela v'chazoras Malchus Beis David b'mkeima. And it's only a proper nechama when it's a complete redemption, when David HaMelech's kingship is restored. Okay, we'll leave it there.